Right, you guys are looking at the most toxic version of Spright in the game. Live Twin Spright with the IBLEE lock. Now, IBLEE lock is nothing new. There are Live Twin decks, Spright decks that have run both IBLEE and Scythe in the same deck for some reason, because you know that's totally necessary. But this is a lock that the way we're doing this lock is going to be very different from how most people do. Most people just simply get the IBLEE from deck and just give it to their opponent, and then make them waste the battle phase, and that's the extent of their IBLEE. We're not satisfied with that. If you're looking in the extra deck, you might see an unfamiliar card in Spright builds. Beat Cop from the End of the World. So I'm going to showcase you this combo in the replays. But basically, if this card is linked summoned using 2 Dark Monsters against the effect, I can tribute a monster and then place 1 patrol counter on any monster. Any monster of patrol counter would be destroyed by battle or card effect. You remove the patrol counter instead. People in the that follow the TCG should be familiar with the exploits. Joshua Schmidt's exploits with this card during Poach format, where he used Beat Cop to protect his Mystic Mine and deck people out. We're not doing something quite as toxic, but it's close. Instead of putting the Beat Cop token on a Mystic Mine, we're putting it on the IBLEE that we give our opponent. So what that means is, after we give them their IBLEE, it gets a token. That means they can no longer crash their IBLEE. If they crash their IBLEE into any of our monsters, they're just going to take damage and they're going to lose the token, but the IBLEE is going to stay right there. So their only way, realistically, is to link this off or tribute this off. And if they try to summon a monster to link it off, we have both Kisa Kill to bring back Lila to pop the monster that they normal summon, and we have Smashers to banish the monster they normal summon. So if they don't run Lingering Bolt, they're never going to link this off. And they can't crash it either. That means the IBLEE is stuck on their field, and most decks that special summon just simply do not have an out to that if this is pulled off. And the issue with this setup is, this is probably going to be the last time that this setup is somewhat viable, because when Bystials comes, Bystials kind of fuck up this strategy, not because they can banish the IBLEE or stuff. Like, no, that's not the reason. IBLEE is summoned after off Gigantic Spright, so they can't even Bystial you after you get the IBLEE on board. But the problem is that Bystials are level 6 monsters. So literally any deck that runs Bystial, which is going to be, you know, quite a lot of decks, they can simply tribute summon IBLEE over the IBLEE, and then it's gone. And then it's like you can't get this back. It's like you spent all that effort to give them the IBLEE with a token on it, and then because the most common hand trap post the next selection pack is going to be a level 6 monster, that just ruins his entire plan. So yeah, this is the last time. If you want to be toxic, you got one day to be toxic with this build. So yeah, that was the entire point. I just, you know, I'm probably like Live Twin Spright has been like the variant that's like been the weakest pretty much, I think, out of all the other Spright variants, especially in this meta. Because like, you gotta think, what are the main forms of disruption of Live Twins? It's a pop, which is, you know, what are you popping against here, right? You can't even pop their field spell properly because it triggers on a new chain, so they still get a search off the field spell of the Purple Rhino. So that's whatever. And then on top of that, it requires you to have these monsters in grave for you to summon. So like, this is the variant of Spright that gets hurt the most by shufflers as well. So it's just already not favorable, and when the introduction of Bystials taking away the one unique thing that this deck has for a win condition, it's like probably not going to be touching this version for a while. but you know, I figured it's a nice way to, you know, let this toxic ass build like run off into the sunset, so nobody's gotta worry about getting IBLEE locked again. So anyway, the build is pretty standard. Like, you have all the standard and all the hand traps, all 18 of them. Then you have the standard Spright engine, and I'm running a quite a decently sized Live Twin package, because if you're playing Live Twin Spright, you gotta run Live Twin. You gotta draw Live Twins cards, okay? If you don't draw Live Twin cards, you're playing a significantly worse version of Spright than every other version. So like, I'm running 8, I want to run more, like, honestly. But like, obviously I can't run, like, we're already running 42 and like I barely fit in all my hand traps, so yeah. And the extra deck is pretty standard as far as Spright goes. Trouble Sunny is amazing. This is the other thing, this is a very good follow-up for turn 3. So like, even if you don't get the lock off, if they can't clear your board, Trouble Sunny is probably gonna kill them on a follow-up. And IP Masquerena is another way to actually accomplish a lock. If you don't open a Live Twin monster, like, I try to demonstrate later in the replay, but I fuck it up, you know, as usual. But Live Twin can give, with combination of Spright Elf reviving IBLEE, like after they link off the IBLEE one time, or they crash the IBLEE, you will Spright Elf revive the IBLEE, and IP Masquerena link with the IBLEE during their turn into Nightmare Unicorn, probably. The Unicorn will spin the other monster they link summoned, and then IBLEE will come back to their field in defense build. They already used their battle phase, or if they haven't used their battle phase, IBLEE will be in defense. They can't crash it, and they can't change the battle vision. So yeah, that's just another way to be toxic with the IBLEE. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll show you how it's done with you know, replays instead of just talking about it. So here we go. So very first duel I tried to record of this deck, we opened God Hand, except the Maxi. This may look weird that I normal summon Lila to special summon Kill from hand, but I just did this to play around an imperm on my Lila, because I know it looks like weird how I'm just summoning from my hand when I didn't have to, but I only have the Frost. I don't have the extender for the Kill, so if I normal summon Kill to summon Lila from deck, and they imperm it, then I just lost out on 2 monsters right there. So yeah, we'll use a card out of my hand to play around a hand trap, and then Secret Passcode to add a Sunny Snitch, get Spright Blue, get Jet, go into Gigantic Spright on 4 summon to play around the bureau that people are playing, get out the IBLEE, and then the IBLEE goes to the opponent's field. Special summon the rest of the monsters from my hand. Go into Kill, bring back Lila, Link, bring back Kill, and draw a card. That's a good draw. Going to beat Cop with Elf, with Jet and Lila. This is very important. You need to make beat Cop with 2 dark monsters. So usually it's one of the dark monsters is going to be Lila, and the other one is just going to be a whatever Spright monster you have left over. So now this gains the effect where if you can tribute a monster to put a beat Cop token on it, and now Nightmare Corruptor IBLEE can no longer be destroyed. Therefore, they cannot enter battle phase and crash into it. The only way to do it is just to link this off or send it with something like Droplets or something, you know, very specific else. And we have a Smasher backing up, and since I didn't use the Spright Elf revive, I'll just revive the Gigantic Spright, because, you know, why not? And of course, okay, well, first of all, we get Ultimate Slayered on our Spright Elf. Hands up if this is the first time you've ever seen the Ultimate Slayer animation. You're gonna Faraday cycle a card, and because of that, we get a draw from the Frost Engrave, you know, thank you very much. Summon a Mono Waddle, I'm like... Very first game, I get the IBLEE lock off on the perfect IBLEE lock. My opponent is playing fucking Amano Iwado Stun. Well, I'm gonna smash that just so I can use my Kisa kill for later. And yeah, they're playing Runick. I saw that coming. So funnily enough, Nightmare Character IBLEE actually does something against Runick Stun. Even though like they're literally just trying to mail me out Runick cards. Their fountain, they cannot protect their fountain as long as IBLEE is in the field because they can't special summon Hugin. So I have free reign to destroy this fountain whenever I want to. So there you go, bro. There you go. IBLEE is useful against stun. We're gonna run through 3 Runick spells to draw with fountain. Fortunately, we have the Go spell as well. So yeah, they're down to 1 card. Check that they're up to 3 cards because their last card was also a Runick spell. So just open triple Runick spell, I guess, a mono plus Ultimate Slayer. Well, anyway, we're gonna special blue, special jet add starter, and going to elf. Here's another thing, because the IBLEE is still on their field. Our opponent controls a monster, so we can use elf to bring back the Kisa kill. And before using Kisa kill effect, we're gonna overlay elf, and we gotta play around our locks. So when Kisa kill, when either of these life twins use their effect to special summon a monster, they lock you into fiends from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. When you use Gigantic Spright as starter, you're locked into 2s. So we want to play around both locks. So we go into Gigantic Spright at 3200 first. Then we use the Kisa kill, bring back Lila. Lila will pop the fountain, get that shit out of here. Then since we didn't use anything to 2-lock ourselves, we go into Trouble Sunny. And then we use Gigantic Spright after going to Trouble Sunny. Summon Carrot. Carrot will get rid of the token we put on it, and then we'll summon another Spright to run it over. Then we have 32 plus 33 plus the 2 double tag from Trouble Sunny, which is game. So yeah, that's another reason to run the Life Twin. The Life Twin package is like the weakest one right now in this current meta, but Trouble Sunny is very good is a very good card as a follow up. Alright, so that was super unlucky. We put up the perfect IBLEE lock against one in the deck that's hurt the least life. So not disheartened at all. We're gonna try again, and we open a. You just need to open Live Twin plus any Spright monster that's like blue, jet, or starter, and then you have the full setup. So yeah, you know the drill. You're just gonna get the Kisa kill to do the Lila stuff. I want to draw. Of note, I use Lila to summon Kisa kill to draw before the starter because I want to draw into another Spright monster so I can special summon it. You know, just if I draw red, I can summon Carrot. And so we're gonna get blue instead to get Jet. Jet will add Smashers. Go into the Beat Cop. Give it a token and set Smashers Imperm and have 2 hand traps in hand. Feel pretty good to myself. Blind Cosmic on the Imperm. D-Fisher. Like I was so ill, like brother. Like the 2 times I pulled off the perfect IBLEE lock on my opponent. They're playing Runick Stun and they're playing Floowandereeze. At least IBLEE did something in a Runick Stun matchup, like it prevented them from protecting their fountain of Hugin. Like giving them this IBLEE is like literally detrimental to me because I'm giving them a tribute fodder. Like they summon like Spright to get the normal summon, to get the additional normal summon, and look at this. Next normal summon, they summon Enpen. Their hand was literally bricked. Their hand was Cosmic Cyclone, Called D-Fisher, Spright, and Enpen. The fact that I gave them the IBLEE unbricked their hand because it let them tribute for Enpen. I was so fucking sick from that. Like thankfully, like their hand was bad enough to a point where they can't beat a Spright full combo anyways. But I'm just saying, like that's the absolute worst case scenario for my deck. Like you could ever. Yeah, that map is not resolving through Smashers, so they're gonna attack over. Now, the problem with this extra deck is, You know, I can tell I didn't take this deck too seriously compared to my other Spright builds. Do you see the out for Empen in my extra deck? No, mod check. Okay, so we're gonna have to get creative. Add Lila with Snitch. Go into Gigantic Spright. Use Gigantic Spright. Detach Lila. Get the blue. Blue gets Jet. Jet gets Starter. Starter gets Carrot, and it will make Elf. And thankfully we drew an Imperm. So with this Imperm outs their Endpin and their Brick Hand. Enter battle phase. We're gonna Endpin and we're gonna negate their Dreaming Town with Carrot. And because now their Endpin is negated, we can use Kill to bring back Lila and pop their Endpin. And thankfully they have nothing else, so really showcasing the power of IBLEE lock in this Master Duel meta, like clearly. So this next replay is a way to an alternative line to a lock. It's not as strong, but it doesn't require you to draw a Life Twin. In fact, you can do this with just any level 2 plus Spright monster, like Jet or Blue. So we're gonna normal summon the Maxi, of course, add our Carrot, and then go into Gigantic. Gigantic, get out IBLEE, link off IBLEE into Elf, and give them the IBLEE. Next, we're gonna revive one of our miscellaneous Spright monsters, summon Carrot, and go into IP. So to explain how this works is, we're gonna attempt to, obviously they because this doesn't have a counter, they have an easy way to out this. They could crash this, or they could, you know, link it off, because we don't have the Kill as a monster removal, so we don't have, like, unless we hard search Smashers or hard drew Smashers, which we didn't, and don't have a way to remove a monster they normal summon from linking it off. So they have 2 ways to out IBLEE. The goal is, after they out IBLEE the first time, we're gonna bring back IBLEE with Elf, and then link off the IBLEE again with the IP. Go into Unicorn, and Unicorn is gonna spin back the other monster they made to link off with. Link off the IBLEE with. And then we're gonna give them back the IBLEE in defense mode. And they can no longer crash it, because then the IBLEE would be summoned during their turn. And it'd be stuck in defense mode. And if they linked it off, they would already use the normal sub. So yeah, I hope that's basically, they out IBLEE one time, Elf, IP, link it again, give him back the IBLEE. That's the other way to perform this lock. And our opponent normal summons Snow, and they link it off into Cerberus. And I don't know, I should have, like, I guess the Cerberus went threatening, so like I fucked up. Like, I should have, as soon as they link to a monster, you IBLEE, you do that again to give them back the IBLEE, and you spin their Cerberus with Nightmare Unicorn. The fact that I waited and then they let them do a second action that messed this whole lock up. Like, I would have been perfect if I just did this immediately on the summon of Cerberus, but I must have been toggled off or some shit. Like, I don't know. So anyway, we get a more interesting game state. Our opponent Keldo for Keldo. We're gonna call by the Keldo to bait it out. And they're gonna cross up decks that are called by. I'm gonna negate the called by sacking off the IP. They're gonna trigger Keldo, chain Keldo, to try to put stuff back, and before they summon their Keldo, I'm gonna bring back the IP with Spright Elf. So yeah, we're both hella low resources on this game. And as soon as they summon Keldo, I'm actually gonna shotgun the IP now to go into Unicorn. Just spin the Keldo away, because they already used the Keldo, they can't use the Keldo on field, so we can spin it back and not deal with Shufflers on the next turn, because Shufflers actually hurt this variant of Spright more than the others. And then, of course, they're gonna trigger Kelback the Unicorn, and then Unicorn pop the Infirm, and yeah, none of this should have happened. Neither of us should have been down to this many cards. Like, we both kind of messed up there in that interaction. That's okay. Bad Yu-Gi-Oh is entertaining Yu-Gi-Oh, Anyway, we draw a starter. I'm literally the sackiest person in this entire fucking game. Like, so yeah. Anyway, I didn't want to go into Elf, or sorry, I went to Elf into bring back Jet. Then we're going to 32 Gigantic just to out the fucking Unicorn and get a. I figured they're on 2 cards, and their Snow is like, if they want to use Snow, they gotta get rid of all their cards. So 2 interruptions is probably enough. We're gonna normal summon Supplier. We're gonna Smashers away. They're gonna chain Maxi, trying to bait out my red, and then they're gonna chain Snow for some reason, not knowing that Snow is gonna get banished anyways. Yeah, that's did you hear that clown music? For both of us. So obviously we can't go first all the time, and at the end of the day, this is still a Spright deck, and you know with Spright decks, right? All the hand traps and non-engine we run to help play against the stronger decks in the game, such as Tearlaments, such as Maxi. You know, we resolve Maxi. We're very skilled at this game. Okay, they're gonna normal summon Merly, get him early, and that we're gonna bell that early with the second ghost spell that we drew. You know, thank you. Fortunately, they get to add a crime. So if this crime is live, we're cooked. So they're gonna flip Sulliek on the normal summon and not activate it. We're gonna summon Jet then, because if this is a monster in hand, we lose anyway. There's like absolutely nothing we can do to this. Right now, we're just gonna have to eat the first fusion summon. But they're gonna activate Sulliek on the Jet and send their Merly to grave, at which we're gonna bell it a second time and pray that that's not a monster in hand, and it's not a monster in hand. That means we're good to go. Go into Gigantic, get out Blue, Blue get Carrot, enter battle, attack over the. For some reason they summon Sharon in defense mode. Don't do this against any. Like, this is so bad. Like, this lets a Dweller with no water materials run it over. This lets Gigantic run over. Just don't summon the Sharon in defense mode. It's not worth it. Like, what are you worrying about? Then Lightning Storm in your Sharon so you can get trigger effect? Oh no. So yeah, main phase 2 we're gonna summon Carrot, set called by, and we have another Maxi. They're gonna activate Scream, enter battle for some reason, and pass. And yeah, this is summon Blue, going to Spright Elf, eat the Shuffler, or bait out a Shuffler. This is fine. It's all according to plan. Get the red out with the Gigantic that stay on board, get Jet, and then enter battle phase. And this is actually just exact game. You know the live twins part of the deck really put into work this game. Like, well, I guess this is more so showcases why I want to run a lot of live twin cards, because when you don't see the live twin cards, you can't really access that part of your engine very well, because you know, Gigantic getting out one live twin doesn't do anything, because you need both color live twins in circulation to do anything with them. So like, if you don't open one, you just end up not doing that part of your deck at all, and it's like you're like playing like a Spright deck without a secondary engine at that point, and it's like really underwhelming, to say the least. So first off, for the new format with the new list, obviously you just take out one blue, and that's honestly probably the only change I'd make, because Bell is going to be good against Branda 2, which is coming out, and still going to be good against Tyr, which is still going to see play. So yeah, just keep this deck in mind. Now, obviously the Bestials coming hurts, but Bestials aren't going to be good every format. So as soon as we get a format where Bestials suddenly aren't going to be in everyone's deck, then watch out for this. This is we're gonna be IBLEE locking people. We're gonna IBLEE locking the crap out of people. In that case, well, actually, hopefully when probably after Bestial format, it's gonna be Cash Tier format, and then depending on how they hit the deck, because IBLEE is kind of prevalent in cash tier meta too, so like people are gonna be prepared for it. But if we don't get that version of cash, and nobody's expecting IBLEE, and then bitch shields are out of the game, then this deck's niche is coming back, and we're gonna. Another thing about this deck is this is the other Spright variant that benefits the least from Sprint as well. If we get Sprint the next pack, so like if you want to do normal Spright stuff, probably don't use the Live Twin engine. If you use the Live Twin engine, you're using it for. I would recommend using it for the most degen way possible, because that's what this engine is good for. You know, being degenerate. Kisa Kill reviving Lila for a single pop is not really at the power level for as a supplementary engine for Spright. There's a lot better options if you're not trying to lock your opponent out of the game. But I mean, yeah, go try this out for yourself while you still can, and hopefully you don't play against Flu and Runick Stun when you try to lock them out. If you want to see the Spright version that I would probably play more closely to what I would play next format, click somewhere around, should be somewhere around here, the card list.